Evening all, and welcome to our pre-record for this week. Can you believe we're in week 4 already? Time is absolutely flying by. So in tonight's pre-record, we will discuss learning outcome 7. And that is determine strategies to resolve personal and interpersonal conflict, to include an understanding of different personalities and how they react to conflict, common causes of conflict, and the role of assertiveness and cooperation in conflict resolution. So, conflict doesn't necessarily mean, I'll say, bear with me there for 1 second, guys. I'm having technical problems. So conflict does not necessarily mean the way we think about anger. Sorry, apologies. I'll get this right now. Conflict does not necessarily mean being angry. The way we think about anger will have an effect on the way we experience conflict situations. If anger is viewed as something to be avoided, is negative, needs to be met with anger, etc., then this will influence how we view conflict and whether or not we avoid it, become aggressive, or are assertive. There are many schools of thought about the causes of anger, aggression, and violence. Some say it is instinctive and others say it is learned. Whichever theory is favored, these feelings and actions need to be dealt with by us all, at different times. How we respond today will depend on how we're encouraged to respond in childhood, in our family of origin, our neighborhood, and in our culture. For example, shyness and tenderness are often approved of in women. Anger is not. Yet in many situations, anger or indignation is the most authentic response. It's not easy to establish the degree to which the work environment and factors outside of work contribute to an individual's stress levels. Someone who has experienced stressful life events may find that he or she is less able to cope with the demands and deadlines at work. Even though work is not the cause and has never been a problem before, workplaces which have good communications, respectful relations, and healthy systems of work can help people recognize and manage the stress, the type of stress which may have more than one cause. Such workplaces tend to get the best results in achieving a healthy and productive workforce. Stress can be broadly defined as the negative reaction people have to aspects of their environment as they perceive it. Stress is therefore a response to a stimulus and involves a sense of an inability to cope. We perceive, interpret, cope with, and react to the world differently, but a stress reaction is an unpleasant state of anxiety. Two things should be kept in mind. Firstly, being stressed is a state, and therefore not permanent in all but the most extreme cases. Secondly, when we are stressed or under the influence of stress, we are less likely to behave in a rational way when we are calm. How we manage pressure is influenced by many factors, some past, some current. How we learned, how others behave around us when we were young, what behaviors were rewarded and what were punished. We all cope better when we have support, when we have resources such as time, equipment, know-how, and control. And it is true. How we approach things, how things are presented to us, how we react, how other people react, how stressed we are. It's true. If we feel stressed or we feel under pressure, we will react differently, as if we were differently than if we were in a calm state of mind. When you're in a calm state of mind, you see things differently. When you're stressed, all you can see is problems. When you're calm, you can see solutions. And again, how we manage today is influenced on how we were treated when we were younger. You know, what we learned, how others behaved around us when we were young, what behaviors were rewarded and what was punished. We see in some cases that bad behavior was punished. So they think, oh, bad behavior is rewarded. So those people then growing up think that, you know, if I do bad things, I'll get good things. You know, and it's very simple. And it's, you know, when you're a young child and this is what, you know, you're being rewarded for bad behavior, then you're going to continue to be, you know, and it's very hard to change, very hard to change. And again, you know, we do all cope when we have good support, when we have the resources, time, equipment, know-how, and control. Know-how and control are very, very important when it comes to conflict. Causes of short-term stress can include tough deadlines, having to carry out tasks we find very difficult, having to do many things at once, or having to act in difficult circumstances or under external pressures. For instance, when under extra emotional strain or feeling low or upset, stress generally comes from aspects of personal lives. Bereavement is a major cause of stress, as is loss of any kind, including through divorce or separation. Other life events which are stress-inducing include being ill or an illness of a partner or family member, unemployment, financial pressure, running a business, and indebtedness. So being indebted to somebody. Running a business can be very stressful. Trust me, speaking from experience. Being stressed may not be articulated by everyone in the same way. For instance, although we all experience stress through loss, people will explain the experience differently, cope with it differently, acknowledge it differently, and recover from it in many different ways. There are healthy ways to overcome stress: good lifestyle, diet, social solidarity, meaningful work which can broaden our social ties, as well as unhealthy ways to react, such as over or under eating, excessive drinking, angry outbursts, defensiveness, which can lead to lack of quality of sleep, decreased exercise, and social isolation. Whether male or female, if you've been taught to repress anger, then internalize it, then internalization will occur. Internalized anger brings on depression and self-depreciation. Depreciation. I know I'm saying that wrong, or I'm pronouncing that wrong, and I'm sure one of you will correct me on Wednesday evening. Self-depreciation. Got it. Anger involves the mind, the body, and behavioral habits that people have acquired due to their life experiences. In order to resolve anger, people need to change not only their thinking, but also their pulse rates. Emotional release is insufficient as only half the problem. To shout at somebody may be helpful, but rarely is if it does nothing about the person who you feel has wronged you. Undertaking relaxation, deep breathing is unlikely to be assistance on its own if the person who is bothering you still has to be faced. Successful anger management deals with thoughts, the attitudes, perceptions, and interpretations that generate anger. The body, teaching relaxation and cooling off techniques to help the person calm down. And behavior, teaching new habits and skills. So by the end of this module, I'll have you all doing Tai Chi down the local park every Sunday morning. Breathe in, breathe out. There you go. Tai Chi. Often anger is the cover of other feelings which people find difficult to express. I'm hurt. I'm worried. I don't know how to talk to her about my feelings, or him. No one will ever love me again if he or she leaves me. I don't know how to get my way. Nobody listens to me. I can't forgive. Any of those familiar to you guys? I don't want to know. Obviously, that's a whole different thing. But again, something might ring through there to one of you. It may help in the long run. Remember what we're doing. We're doing personal and professional development. Okay, so if you find that things are that you find difficult to express, then identifying what it is half the problem. Once you identify it, then you can go on to fix it or to rectify it. I'm worried. Do you worry unnecessarily? Do you worry about things that may never happen, but you still worry about them just in case? Do you get hurt easily? Do you find it difficult to talk to your partner or your spouse? Are you worried that that if you leave a relationship, no one will ever love you again? Is it the case, I don't know how to get your way? Do you feel that nobody listens to you? It's a bit like me in these pre-records. I'm talking to myself, and I don't know if anyone's listening to me. I don't know if anyone will ever listen to me, but I don't worry about it. Okay? And the last one then, can you forgive or can't you forgive? If someone does something to hurt you, can you forgive them? Or is it something you just refuse to do or can't do? If it's something that you can identify, half the problem, then you can work on ways to rectify it or fix it. Dealing with anger. How many of us get angry? How many of us get angry on a regular basis? Getting angry a lot is not good. Okay, it's not good. Do not make mistakes. Sorry, excuse me. Do not mistake exuberance and high spirits for anger and violence. Share feelings if appropriate and take control of the situation calmly. Humor can sometimes diffuse situations. Do not necessarily act according to the patterns of behaviors others may have come to expect. After an incident, debriefing can be beneficial. Make recordings of the events. Be prepared to listen to the other person. Seek first to understand before being understood. Be aware that angry feelings may cover some other feeling. Be willing to take control and set boundaries when necessary. Build a relationship. Go for bonding. When appropriate, ask the person what they really want. Wait 1 second, guys. Yeah, when appropriate, ask the person what they really want. In the here and now, conflict and anger can be creative, and situations where conflict occur need to be dealt with. However, anger is not a concrete phenomenon, and therefore to express it as such creates the myth that everyone and anyone would become angry at the same thing or the same situation. This is not the case. We need to work out what triggers our own angry feelings and whether we want to change this, or whether we are happy with the way we express or repress these feelings. So again, this module, okay, is all about asking yourself questions and asking yourself meaningful questions. But yes, ask the questions, but you have to answer them honestly. And I've said this a few times. You're defeating the entire purpose here of this module and developing your personal and professional lives, okay? If you don't answer the questions that you're asking yourselves, if you don't honestly answer them, then, you know, the thing that we learned 2 weeks ago or last week, the time management, you're wasting your time. So answer, you know, when you ask yourself these questions, answer them honestly. Nobody else is going to see these questions or these answers, only you. Okay, so, you know, be truthful with yourself, and it's only when you do that then you can, you know, get the answers that you need, or the way to either change or not. You know, you might be happy the way you are. You might be angry with, you know, the things that triggers your angry feelings. You may be happy with that, or you may want to change it. It all depends. Do you find that you get angry very, very easily over the slice of the thing? Then if that's the case, maybe then you need to have a look at what it is that triggers this anger, and maybe you might be able to change it. Okay. Ineffective anger management, both the individual and the relationship with others benefit. The spontaneous outpouring of angry feelings may help an individual in the short term, but may not resolve the problem. To think twice about anger is to enhance the long-term benefit of the relationship and is more likely to problem solve. Culture plays a part on how conflict is managed. For example, the white British culture is often portrayed as having a stiff upper lip mentally, holding onto their angry feelings. Other cultures, such as the Greek culture, tend to be more expressive of their feelings. Group conflict may occur when individuals experience a threat to safe, predictable solution or situations. Conflict also occurs when groups need to problem solve, but technical solutions are given precedence over process. Where the solution is technically good, but the group are not committed, this could lead to a poor outcome. All group members need an eye to the process and need to stay in touch with how they feel about agreements and decisions. So, what happens within your team when there's a conflict? Okay, when someone is peed off at somebody else, or somebody has done something within the group to pee off everyone else, how do you as a team deal with it? Do you be stubborn and not talk to the person? Do you call him out on it or her out on it? What do you do? How do you deal with conflict within your team or your group? we all deal with things differently. We all deal with the conflict differently. Some people, they want to go at it head on, deal with it. Other people just want to bury their head in the sand and not to pretend it hasn't happened. Which is the best solution? Head on, bury your head in the sand, or is there a middle ground that might be better? Causes of conflict. So conflict results from a breakdown in the use of language to communicate an issue or information. It can result in anger, which is generally expressed through aggression, both verbal and physical. Some examples: fear, ego, anxiety, language, body language, culture, environment. Any one of these can, trigger an angry moment. If you're afraid of something or someone, you may get angry, you may lash out. If your ego has been crushed or your ego has been rubbed the wrong way, again, you may get angry. Anxiety, your language, poor language skills, body language of somebody else make you angry. Their culture may offend you. The environment you're in. All of these things can trigger an angry moment or an angry outburst. The difference, right? Causes of conflict examples. Differences in personality. Differences in personality style or ways of working. Not valuing other people's views, background, or experiences. Talking over people in meetings. Asking people to leave a premises. Asking a person to an act or an action that person does not wish to do. Ignoring people or being discourteous. These are all things that can cause conflict. What my pet peeve here is talking over people in meetings, or ignoring people, or being discourteous. They push my button. Again, more causes of conflict. So, bullying behavior or harassment, discriminatory behavior, poor performance, poor attendance and timekeeping, unacceptable language, excessive personal use of the internet or email. These are all causes of conflict or examples that can cause conflict. Bullying or behavior or harassment, again, big one. Discriminatory behavior, again, that's a little bit like bullying. Poor performance, if somebody is not pulling their weight. Poor attendance and timekeeping, we all know what that's like in the security industry. You've just, you've done a 12-hour night shift, you're waiting to go home next morning, and the guy that's supposed to go over is late. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and all you want to do is go home and go to bed. It can cause serious conflict between the team. Unacceptable language and excessive personal use of internet or email. And obviously the last one, theft. Nobody wants anything taken from them. Signs of ongoing conflicts. Looking out for signs of ongoing conflicts or risks could lead to a conflict. The person's behavior, mistakes that may cause conflict. Body language, showing disinterest, being aggressive, raising your voice, distancing yourself. So again, these are all things that you may notice, body language, showing disinterest to another person, being aggressive to another person, raising your voice, and these are all signs of ongoing conflicts that may be going on within your team. Consequences of conflict, okay? Bad feeling among staff or managers, low morale, loss of productivity, high staff turnover, verbal assault, and physical assault. So these are all the consequences of conflict. Okay, so there's a conflict between you and within your team. So obviously there's going to be bad feeling between the staff and managers. The morale is going to be low. Obviously, productivity is going to be low. Staff turnover, people don't want to stay, so there's going to be high staff turnover. If there's conflict going on within your team, then people are not going to want to stay there. They want to move on. Verbal assaults. I think anyone insecure now at this stage in your careers will have had some form of verbal assault at some stage. Physical assaults. Again, I don't know what you guys have dealt with, in your roles in security. I've been in the game 30 years now, and obviously I've been verbally assaulted numerous occasions. Physically assaulted, yes, I have been physically assaulted. I've been kicked, I've been punched, I've been slapped, I've been pushed, I've been spat on, and I was stabbed. I was stabbed once only. But that was over a 30-year period. So, that's not bad going. That's not bad going. But again, but we're not talking about, we're talking about within the group, within your team. Physical assault within your team is not good. Verbal assault within your team is also not good, okay? When it gets to that stage, then your team is out of control at that stage. So you've lost something. It's gone way beyond where it should have gotten. If you're talking physical assault from within your team, there's something wrong there. Right, the conflict checklist. What are you feeling about the situation? Is there another feeling under this feeling? Is it worth fighting about? Have you identified the real issue? Or is this one covering something else? What do you want? And what compromises are you prepared to make? Okay, so whatever the situation is, what are you feeling about it? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling upset? Are you feeling peed off? Are you feeling confused? What is it you're feeling? Or is there an underlying feeling? Is this whatever happened here? Is this, say, the last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back, whatever way you want to say it, and this is it? Whatever happened, is it worth fighting about? Is it that insignificant that it's worth fighting about? Have you identified the real issue? Is this the real issue, or is this one covering something else? Is there something else going on that's really irking you? What do you want? What do you want out of all this? And then the last one, are you willing to make compromises if needed? Again, that's your checklist questions you need to ask yourself. Effective communication. If we anticipate that someone will threaten us, or they have actually threatened us, then our behavior becomes defensive. In the workplace, any defensive behavior takes up energy and detracts from the task at hand. And it's true. If we get defensive, in the workplace, then we're using all our energy to be defensive, and we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And that's kind of obvious, really, isn't it? You're being defensive. You're looking around you. You're watching. You're ducking and diving when you shouldn't be. Conflict is often between groups and departments. Conflict is often between groups, and departments may have come about because their goals are incompatible. For example, stock control may not want so much capital lying around its stock, whilst maintenance may need surplus stock to ensure sufficient spares for machinery. Another goal which both can share may be necessary. Okay, so stock control, they don't want too much lying around, whereas the maintenance guy, obviously he does, because he needs, spares for machinery and that. So they need a goal they can both share. What that goal is, I don't know, but they need something they can share. Now, that's just an example, okay? Competition between groups and departments may be healthy or unhealthy. This will depend upon the situation and the levels of competition. It would also depend upon the levels of dependency they have with each other. Problem solving then will depend on what each party has to gain from the process. There are many different types of problem solving, and these will depend on the levels of trust each party has on the other. So again, there's another question you can ask yourself. What are your problem solving skills like? Do you think that you can, you have no problem solving, or do you, have to scratch your head for a bit and think about things, or maybe ask for help? And there's no harm in that either. A wise man will ask for help or ask someone else's opinion. That's what I say anyway. You may have what you think is the solution, but it may not be the right solution. So it's always good to ask somebody's opinion. What's the harm in it? None whatsoever. What does it say? Measure twice, cut once. There you go. Types of conflict. Disagreement amongst fellow team members. Disagreement amongst members of the public. Disagreement with managers and supervisors. An attack or harmful action by one or more persons by speech or gestures. So these are all types of conflict, okay? And I'm sure we've all, sorry, excuse me, my nose is itchy. I'm sure we've all dealt with something like that at some stage in our career so far. We've all, I think every one of us here has a disagreement with a fellow teammate at some stage in our career. Have we dealt disagreement with members of the public? Well, if you're in retail security and you've arrested a shoplifter, then that's a disagreement with a member of the public. Okay. Yes, we've all disagreed with our managers and supervisors at some stage in our career. An attack or harmful action by one or more persons by speech or gestures. Again, I don't know if you have or not. I can't, an attack or harmful action by one or more persons by speech. Have you had a gang of people slagging off or cursing at you or whatever, or giving you the finger or the birdie, whatever you want to call it? I'm sure we have at some stage. Okay. Monitor team relationships. Sorry, I'm just trying to do something here as well. Sorry, guys, apologies. Here we go. Sorted. Okay. Monitor team relationships. Hang on a second, let's try that again. I'll move it somewhere else. All I want to do. There we go. That's better. Okay. Monitor team relationships. Tension can arise in any team, but be alert to any signs that serious conflict is developing. Many disputes start as mild disagreements which appear to be resolved or forgotten straight away. However, just because a disagreement isn't visible doesn't mean it isn't being resolved. Be confident to challenge any hint of inappropriate behavior. For example, a sexist remark or a personal insult. Challenge that immediately. This will send a clear message to your team that unfair treatment, like bullying, is not tolerated and should not be tolerated in any form whatsoever. I think this is one of my biggest things. Bullying. Bullies are cowards, and the more you pander to their bullying, the more power they get. A bully is a bully. You stand up to a bully, you put him back in his box, and that's it. They're not used to it. They don't like it. Every bully should be challenged straight away. Have regular one-to-ones and try to create an environment in which people feel comfortable discussing their concerns about projects or issues in team meetings. Find ways to have formal conversations to pick up on any issues that are beginning to fester beneath the surface. You could, for example, use the feedback gained from employee feedback voice mechanisms. For example, a survey which might demonstrate that employees feel frustrated by the lack of progression, or to highlight the potential areas of frustration and kick off conversations. Make sure you intervene and talk to the individuals concerned about what's happening and what the real source of the disagreement is. Often there are other underlying issues at play. For example, an issue raised concerning someone's performance could in fact highlight the underlying feelings of resentment. Managers and leaders need to collaborate with others to meet work demands, particularly in an environment as unpredictable as policing. So building and maintaining effective working relationships is an essential skill for today's leader. Excuse me. This includes tailoring interpersonal communication skills so that interactions with others are appropriate to the situation or task at hand. This in turn will create effective outcomes for the individual, the team, and the broader organization. Being aware of your interpersonal skills and behaviors and those you require for your role will allow you to identify those which are missing and develop them while similarly utilizing existing traits to the optimal effect. Recent research has shown that managers themselves can often be the cause of conflict. Managers need to consider their management and leadership style and the impact your behavior has on others. When your team is happy and supported in their work, they are more likely to meet their goals and objectives and in turn help you meet yours. There are also situations where staff find themselves in a conflict situation. There may be directly or be a third party trying to diffuse a situation. It is key when faced with conflict that you use good communication and other skills are used to reduce the risk of conflict. And that's our next module, by the way, conflict management. So that should be an interesting one for all of us. Energy is taken up with winning, impressing, etc. And it will affect the giving and receiving of messages, and instructions may go haywire, or the actual difficult relationship is not dealt with. We are likely to become more and more defensive. This in turn is likely to lead increased difficulties in communication. So, and this is actually true, okay? We use so much energy in winning, impressing, and doing all that sort of thing. So when we're giving or receiving messages, we lose it. We lose what we're either saying or what we're hearing, because we're so obsessed with impressing someone else or impressing that person or winning, that we're not registering what's being said because we're focused on something else. So, we need to kind of, being good, being top, being impressive, it is all good. They're all positive things, but they have to be, in moderation. If winning and impressing is the be all and end all, then that's not right either, because you're missing out on the important stuff. The important things are happening around you. You're focusing on one thing when you should be focusing on different things. If you're part of a team and you have there's something going on within your team that whoever does this, whoever does that, they get round of applause back to back. And if you're the person that always wants that applause and always wants that pat the back, you will do whatever it takes to get that above everyone else, even standing on their heads. And that's not being part of a team, okay? And it will cause conflict. Nobody wants to deal with that one person or wants to work with that person that puts him above everyone else in the team. So just be mindful of that as well, okay? Descriptions of necessary interpersonal skills are often vague and unhelpful. Conversely, they are sometimes very specific to certain injuries. Here, we will briefly touch on some of the key interpersonal behaviors which are important for leaders to display, regardless of their organization, industry, or specific operational role. It won't always be easy to remain positive. Work and indeed life can be stressful, and often things will not go as they were intended to. However, leaders will still be required to take their team through these tougher times, as they will through the good. Obviously, good times, bad times, okay? Therefore, it is crucial that managers retain a level of objectivity regarding tasks and allow themselves to take a step back to review options before planning a way forward. By thinking positively about what can be done to correct any issues, to right any wrongs, leaders can focus on influence the things under their control to keep everybody moving forwards whilst maintaining, motivating and morale across the team. Okay, so how many of us stress or worry about things that are outside our control, that we have no control over whatsoever? I'm waiting for someone to put up their hand. Sorry, guys. Okay. Right. I think we all have at one stage. We worry about things that we have no control over. And worrying is just using up energy that can be used elsewhere. Focus on the things you can influence, things that you have control over, by keeping everyone moving forwards, maintaining motivation and morale across. If you're preoccupied by worrying about something else that's happening somewhere else that is outside of your scope, outside of your control, you're losing focus on what you can control. And look, I'm absolutely sure that we're all guilty of that at some stage. We've all done it. I'm sure we have. Worried about something else that we've no control over. It's like worrying about things that may never happen. I'm worried about getting hit by a bus. That might never happen. But what if I walk out my front door in the morning and get hit by a bus? For me, that would be highly, highly unlikely. I live out in the middle of nowhere. Not a bus to be seen for hundreds of miles. Okay, I exaggerated a small bit there. But yeah, no, likely to get hit by a tractor, different story. But again, I don't worry about it because it's probably never going to happen. How many of us worry about things that may never happen? And I'm going to ask you that question on Tuesday, okay? How many of us actually, and I want honest answers, by the way, honest answers. Although leadership can take many forms, it will often be required that a leader steps forward to act with assertiveness and express their thoughts on a matter in a way that others take notice and act upon them. Assertiveness does not always mean aggressiveness or authoritarian. Leaders should remain composed at all times, even when being firm, direct, or forceful. This will help maintain trust and respect between the leader and their teammates. Okay, so you have a team leader or a supervisor or a manager, and things start to go wrong or there's a problem, and your team leader, supervisor, whoever it is, you feel like by looking at them that they're not sure what they should be doing or they look flustered or thing. Does that inspire confidence in you? You know, you're looking to this guy to sort out this or help fix this. When you look at him, though, it doesn't inspire confidence at all. And I say this a lot of time to people. Appear, you know, look calm, appear to be calm, even though if inside you're, you know, it's like the swan swimming, you know, floating along the river, you know, lovely and graceful on top, looks super serene, but underneath the water, the legs are going, you know, bang, 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 bang. But onto all you can see on top of the water is this lovely, graceful, serene thing just gliding along the water. That's how you should appear, even if inside your heart is going 90 miles an hour. Always portray a certain amount of calmness, a certain amount of assertiveness. Even if you're unsure what to do, don't let it show. Show that you know what to do. Be firm in what you say, but fair. And you know, it will inspire confidence amongst your team as well, okay? Patience. Now, patience is a virtue. Though it may not always seem natural, involving others in the decision-making process and allowing them to express their views on activities and objectives will create a more rounded approach to work. However, this more democratic and collaborative style will require patience from the leader in order to create the time, space, and environment for sharing ideas. By working through problems and solutions with team members gradually, the leader can create mutual trust, as well as giving the individual an opportunity for ownership, responsibility, and independence. All right, your role, whatever your role is at the moment, whether it be supervisor, team leader, manager, whatever it is at the moment, we'll just say you were all team leaders right now, okay? Would you allow your team get involved in decision making and give them the opportunity to express their views on objectives or activities? Yes or no? Would you? Yes. Would you? No. You know, if you do, obviously you need patience, because you need to hear what they have to say. Because if you're going to offer this, right, you can't just say, when they start speaking, you can't just cut them, okay, no, that, you know, when they're halfway through what they want to say, you can't say, no, that's not going to work. Bad idea. You need the patience. You need to listen to what they have to say. What they say may be wrong. It may be incorrect. It might not be a solution, but that doesn't matter. Allowing them to express themselves makes them feel part of the process, and it makes them feel like they have something to do with the task in hand, the task that has to be done, the task that you're asking their opinion on. Okay, whatever they're saying is right or wrong, let them say it. Okay, and you know, it does help. Sometimes it can help. You could, you know, it may reinforce your own idea that, yes, that was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done that, because that's what everyone else is saying as well. Or, yeah, that is a good idea, because, yeah, you know, 90% of the team are saying the same thing. It can help reinforce what you're thinking as well, okay? And when you involve your team with things like that, it builds up a trust between you and your team, and it gives them an opportunity that they're part of it. They have ownership for whatever this process, whatever this task may be. They take responsibility and they get a little bit of independence as well. All great for your team. And it brings the team, whether you take their, listen to their opinion, whether you take their advice, you give them the opportunity to voice it. And that's what's important. Listening to what they have to say. And yes, it does take patience, because, and I'm not saying you could be talking to a guy and he has the best will in the world, the best heart in the world, he's a brilliant worker, but when it comes to problems and solving them, he's just not there. But don't knock him. Listen to what he has to say. It boosts his confidence and it makes him feel that so much better. Jesus, John there, listen to what I had to say. Brilliant, no one ever listened to me before. What harm can it do? Only all good. Build this guy's confidence up. Make him feel even more part of the team. It does one, it's a win-win. Everyone gets to what they have to say. Everyone gets to voice their opinion. Whether you go with those opinions or not, doesn't matter. But you're given the opportunity to speak, and it just gets the whole team stronger. Listening effectively, like I mentioned there on the last slide, okay? Listening effectively, not just at superficial level, but understanding the deeper meaning of words, can allow managers to develop a greater and more empathic understanding of others' needs, feelings, and motivations, along with any challenges they are facing. In addition, by giving others the time to speak their part and ensuring they know that you are truly listening, you can develop trust and build more effective professional relationships. Again, and you can tell when you're talking to somebody whether they're actually listening to what you're saying or just allowing you to say something. If I feel that I'm talking to you and you're not listening to me, then I'm going to stop talking. And I won't talk to you again. And I won't pass on important, and this is the thing where it becomes important. Actually listening to someone, because there will be a time when I may have to pass on a valuable piece of information to you. And why won't I? Because you don't listen to me. You let me talk, but you don't listen. And there's a difference. Listen to what the person is saying. And how do you ensure that they know that you're listening to them? By your body language. You're looking directly at them and you're nodding. You're using affirming nods to say, yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes, and that's all it takes. Looking at them while they're talking to you and using these affirming nods, saying, yes, I'm listening. I understand what you're saying. It's that simple. If somebody's talking to you and you're looking at your watch, doing everything, fidgeting, looking around, see what's happening, looking over their shoulder, you're not listening to what they're saying. They're talking, but it's not registering. And that's not what you want. You want them to feel that, because there will be a time when they have something to say and something important to say, and they will not say it to you simply because they know you don't listen. So it is important. Teams are a delicate balance in the worlds of, teams are a delicate balance. And in the words of leadership theorist John Adair back in 1988, probably before some of you guys were born, I'd imagine, a leader must seek to balance the needs of the task, team, and the individual. This is difficult and requires a strong set of behaviors and skills in order to smoothly integrate the three. Lovely phrase. Leaders will need to build a balanced team that understands organizational goals and what is expected of them. Similarly, considering the needs as an individual and a group. Any actions will be agreed upon as a team in order to ensure commitment to the project. Any difficult situations that arise, such as conflicts, must be faced head-on by leaders and managed in a fair and balanced way. The avoiding strategy suggests that the issue and relationships are not sufficiently important to work on. Excuse me. The responses could be walking out, ignoring, distracting, joking, changing the subject, etc. In the surrendering strategy, the relationship is more important than the issue. Responses could be agreeing, apologizing, giving in, etc. The fighting it out strategy stands for the importance of the issue and achieving a result. The relationship is less or not important. Responses could be physical, psychological attack, arguing, threatening, drawing lines, etc. I'm right, you're wrong, I'm good, you're bad, etc. Criticism and put downs. The compromise strategy suggests attributing moderate importance to both the issue and the relationship. Responses could be limiting time, energy, identifying the issue easily, low feelings, win a bit, lose a bit attitude, etc., etc. You know, these are strategies that, you know, the avoidance strategy, you know, bury your head in the sand kind of thing. It's not happening. Surrendering, give in, you know, by either agreeing, apologizing, or giving in, fighting out, you know, fight your corner. You know, we've all, and in the compromise, coming to an agreeable solution. It's difficult to, you know, teams can be good things, they can be bad things. Mostly they're good things. You know what to say, two heads are better than one. Someone, you know, within a team, you have somebody there has got your back. And they're important, and teams are important to be part of as well. Nobody wants to be a solo player or out on their own. It's always nice to be part of something, be part of a team. It makes you feel wanted. That's all I have for you guys this evening. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you get something from it. There's a lot of questions to ask yourself as well. Again, only you can answer those questions, and I hope that you answer those questions honestly to yourself. Like I said, nobody ever needs to see these questions or these answers. These are for you and you alone. But please, when you ask yourself these questions, answer them correctly. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. If you answer them correctly, then, you know, it's a good starting point. Okay, do I need to change, or do I need to develop this, what I'm doing now? Do I need to develop, or do I need to change and go a different way? And that's how it's done. And that's the only way we can do it. You know, we constantly need to develop ourselves personally and professionally. I'm only here, this module is only here to kind of guide you, you know, maybe point you in the right direction. The rest is up to you guys. One last thing, actually, and I just remember it. The only, right, every week I kind of give you, I might send you an email or give you something to fill out. That's just a kind of a question of the week thing, or a weekly task that, you know, just so that I know that you're kind of listening and paying attention to what I'm saying. The only things that you have to submit onto Moodle are the stuff that's on your assignment briefs, the 5 portfolios, 1 to 5. They're the only things you actually have to submit onto Moodle. Any stuff that I email you, it's up to you whether you want to do it or not do it. If you want to email it back to me, that's fine. You don't have to put that stuff up on Moodle, okay? Just anything that I email you to do doesn't have to go up on Moodle, okay? Just so you're all clear, because I don't want you having to go through all the hassle of putting up stuff on Moodle if it doesn't need to be put up there, okay? That's all. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you all on Wednesday evening. I hope we have an enjoyable chat again on Wednesday. It's always great talking to you all live. It's brilliant. I don't have to talk so much. I'm getting hoarse. Okay, I should talk to you all on Wednesday. Have a good couple of nights, and I should talk to you soon.